Welcome everybody to this next session. I'm delighted to welcome Chritina Tumino. She's the founder of a program. It's an educational program for students. It's called Magical Parenting, and it's so fascinating. So many of our businesses are saying they have a war on talent. They cannot get people with the right skills, the right approach, and the right attributes. So Chris, with a passion for this program, is changing that. So we're looking at future leaders. So I want to bring in Crete to talk to us about what her program is and how it addresses the problem of having future employees with the right talents that we need.
Yes, thank you very much, Cristina and Guillermo, for the opportunity. So I created this magical parenting, and it is an educational system that is based on the uniqueness of the child. So it's about developing the unique skills of the child while developing as well in all areas of growth. That means physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, in the sense of understanding, like having a good knowledge of the self and understanding what make the child unique, what is the hidden potential skills, and how to find that purpose in life, how to find meaning and purpose in life. So this is what the method, this education system is about. And of course, it's about guiding parents and children, so both on the same kind of side as well. So the parents know how to. It's like giving the parents the tools to learn how to guide the children, and involves a lot as well of like self-knowledge and self-discovery as a parent as well, because the more you understand who you are, the more you become a kind of role model for children, so the more you know how to guide them as well. So
Yeah.
it's that kind of.
I think there was something interesting that you said there, but which is so topical at the moment, and it's emotional well-being. Because when people come into a company now, they're not just coming as an employee. The whole person is entering the company, and companies are recognizing this. And there's a big challenge with managing well-being and helping them. So I can see how this could impact an employee of the future. Do you want to talk a little bit about that module?
Yes, so it's actually a method that I called the magical bodies, and it's about learning, like it's more kind of having a good knowledge of the self, in terms of like, when I said the physical body, in terms of understanding what food to eat, what is nutrient for you, the importance of exercising, the importance of breathing, of meditation, of sleeping. So really understanding how this machine work, and how to understand the little like cues of like, it's like learning to listen to your body, because when your body is healthy and strong, then you can work with anything else. It's like kind of going through the, how do you call it, the thing of Maslow, the hierarchy of needs. Yeah, of Maslow. So first of all, you need to be healthy and strong in that sense, and lots of um like ways to manage as well the emotional body is by learning about your physical body, because for instance exercising can be a very good way to how can I say, release, for instance, tension, or learning how to be like, yeah, keep the calm hormones like one of happiness and serotonin and all this stuff strong in your body, so then you can be able to work as well on the emotional body. So that's one aspect. And I realized that with parents, there can be lots of problems in terms of education, especially now, in terms of nutrition, especially nowadays, and learning how to take care of, like, cook for yourself, what is really good for your body, and all this stuff. Then I work as well with the emotional body. As you were saying, the person is a whole individual. The same when they go, for instance, to school, or they go to work, or they do anything. So it's learning how to kind of master, be in control of all these bodies, in order to then become, in order to become that kind of empowered person that like find direction and know what to do in life. So you need to be able to master these bodies. So the emotional body is about being aware of your emotions and how you can be as a parent, because you are the one role modeling and educating. And in that way, you will help your child to be aware of their emotions too, how to give the emotions names, how to understand when they're at play, and when is it that you are leading rather than the emotion leading. And that can be quite like, can you imagine if as a child you can learn how to do this, like to be in control and understand? It doesn't mean that you cannot leave your emotions. It's not about not being able to leave your emotion. It's about being aware and understanding how to manage them. And in that sense, you need to use as well the mental body, the intellectual body, the mental body, because you do need rationality in order to manage your emotion as well. So everything is linked in some way, of course. But the emotional body has lots of is an important part as well that I develop with parents, because especially nowadays that I don't know, there is more this kind of idea of the following your heart and following your emotion that I personally I don't believe is the right way forward, because emotions is not like who you really are. Is kind of is something that is part of your experience in life, and you need it. You needed to have fear of something, because that can help you to maybe do
it's a
something
message,
else.
isn't it, Cree? It's a message. An emotion is a message, isn't it? It's telling you something
Exactly.
that you either
Yeah.
enjoy or dislike.
Yes, perfect. So is the way you can experience things, but you need to be aware of them, because emotions per se, they work in a subconscious level, and we need to kind of bring it more into in an unsubconscious level, and we need to bring it more in a subconscious level, so then we can work better with it.
I think this is so important from a business point of view, because I know there's so many issues in HR and people management where lots of people cannot manage their emotions, and they bring an if you like a response that's not conducive, it's not professional, it's not appropriate for the workplace. And trying to manage this emotional reaction to situations that go wrong is a really big issue in companies. So I could imagine how these transferable skills and this insight could move into business.
Yes, and this is something that if it's actually taught since the very early ages, because children, when they are very little, they create the templates for life. So up to 6, 7 years old is where anything that happens, any of their experiences, for instance, even looking at mom cooking at home, or again, like how she manages emotions that mom herself. How does she deal with my emotions? Like how does she teach me to understand my emotions? If you learn how to do this when you are very young, that is your foundation for the rest of your life. Everything, like there are so many theories about like the attachment theory. There are so many theories that are based actually on how you manage all this stuff when you're quite little. So everything happens at the very early ages. So if you give these tools, powerful tools, when they, like, this is what I do with the children I work as well with themselves. So we talk about emotions. It starts 3 years old. We start to talk about emotions, identifying what's going on, why is this happening, how can you manage. You can manage even with breathing certain things, like starting to teach them and become aware of these. And they're very keen. They really like learning, and they want to do it themselves, and learn how to, if they're stressed, how to manage it, and in that sense become even more strong.
Well, you said, Cree, that you're actually having to coach and train the parents. Of course, parents are employees; they're going into the workplace. So as they start gaining insight to your teachings to their children and how to manage it, that's got to impact them as an employee in their business. They've got to transform on this journey. How did you recognize that you had to teach the parents? Did that come afterwards?
I think because I went myself through a period of self-work. I did myself this, and I realized how powerful this is. So then when I started to work with children, I realized that, and studying about child development, all this stuff, I started to realize that children, what they do, I mean, they all have their own personality, they all have their soul, their essence. Yeah, we just need to unfold it and take it out and understand, so they understand who they are. When they are born, they learn, what they do is trying to learn how to adapt to the world so they can survive like animals do. So what happens is that they imitate, they try to see how parents do things to understand, oh, is that the way that you react to this? So if my mom is shouting because I'm not behaving in a certain way, that means that's the way I have to deal with things as well. So I need to shout, for instance. While instead, and that's why I started to dig more into the parenting side, because parents are actually, family is actually the engine of education in reality. That's the real thing starts from family.
And
And
now, sorry, Kri, I'm really interested. When I spoke to you last, you told me about that your technology training or IT training for the children is different from what they're taught elsewhere. Could you give us an explanation of what that looks like and why it's different and why you chose a different way?
Yeah, so because I use a lot the Montessori method when children learn how to develop their intellectual skills. So that's why they start to read, and they start to actually read the first like CVC words, like consonant, vowel, consonant words when they are 3 years old. And of course, nothing is like, we don't push them to learn. They are so keen. So it's about understanding what they like and how to support that. So they learn very early ages to read, and we do as well additions. Like actually yesterday I was doing with a child is 4 years old. We were doing additions with thousands on place value. So we were doing like the units, the tens, and he's only 4 years old. So they're quite because they have the right environment, they are quite advanced, if we can say advanced. Compare, if I have to compare, although I don't like to do this, but if I had to compare what the normal system, education system is, they are quite ahead. So in that way, what I do in terms of technology, I try to invite parents to avoid children becoming kind of dependent on the technology, being used by technology, by just watching videos and sometimes even doing, some parents give the tablet to learn how to write the alphabet letters. I don't really encourage this, because I think what is important in technology, this is my view, is that from one side, the child needs to live and experience the world. That means going outside, play, like, I don't know, have bruises everywhere, like climb trees and all this experience, and lots of like very concrete experiences. So then technology instead is used as a tool to create, to explore, to do anything else, rather than just being there like plugged into something like in that way. So for me, what is important is to kind of get the parents, and as well I teach in a Montessori setting, to as well teachers in that reality, the importance of teaching children to use technology, and they love it. So for instance, what we do is with little things like opening Word documents, writing things on there, creating, working with some of the graphic things there, and they get it quickly. They get, because they understand, of course they're used to the iPad, everything you touch the screen, while with a laptop you had to use the how do you call it, the touchpad.
Yeah.
So it's quite different the way that you work, but they just get in like really like 1 or 2 sessions, they just get it straight away. So they learn open documents. What I'm starting to do, but I'm the very early stages, I'm seeing how to create a program for coding for earlier ages, because these children already can read very simple words, and it needs to be something that's quite easy for them as well to understand, quite intuitive in some way, but at the same time they can understand few things. They already know how to do like simple operations of additions and subtraction, so they can actually start to, it's like giving them the tools to understand how to code or how to program, but then leaving the freedom to invent and create. Maybe they can come up with something that it doesn't even exist in that sense.
Amazing. And that's the start of technology. Guillermo, did you want to say something there?
I have a lot of questions, Christina, and it's
Yes.
good what you are doing because right now we are living in a digital world and we don't know exactly how to manage, with the babies, with the child, with education that is advancing really well. So, which is your recommendation? Because there are a lot of persons here that maybe they don't know which is the best way to teach the children's technology, or try to promote to use maybe some hours a day, maybe weekends. Tell us a little bit about your recommendation with your patients, with your students.
So for me, everything is about following the child, as Montessori says. So it's a very self-centered, like child-centered approach. So it's about understanding what the child is interested and curious about. So teaching for me is play, like we play and we do things children like. So for me, it's not about, it's a very personalized kind of education. So it's not like the child adapting to a system, but is the environment adapting to the child in some way, like the educator adapting to the child, and leave freedom for the child to explore. So if I have a child that is quite interested, so what I do, for instance, if I'm personally teaching myself, I maybe take the laptop and start to do something on the laptop, and the child, if the child is curious, he will come and ask, oh, what are you doing? And then I can start to show and explain, and the child will start. And if he wants, and we need to give the freedom, if the child wants to spend a full hour just doing something on the laptop because he's investigating and doing and learning something, it's like the same when you're learning how to play a guitar and you love playing the guitar. You would like to spend hours and hours playing the guitar. Yeah. So that will be the same in this way with any kind of thing the children are interested in. The important thing, of course, is for them to be able to learn how to express their uniqueness, their curiosity. They express and be very articulate in the way they talk. That's very important. But they can do all this while learning. So it's not about, as you were saying, for parents, or doing on the weekend or doing on the thing. I actually, many of the families I work with, the children don't go to school. They are home educated. So I support them in building a kind of curriculum for them. That is not really a curriculum, because it's a lot based on the child, but it covers everything, all areas of like, in schools normally they are split in like science and maths and geography. So this instead is more based on one thing that is linked to everything. So when the child is interested in something, you can link to everything. So in that sense, technology, for instance, when we play, we are making, a veggies shop, then the child can, I was actually doing this, and because I work with children as well with different ages, they don't have to be all the same age in the same area or in the same thing. The same with children at home. You don't have children all at the same age. They have siblings of different ages. So one child can come with, I'm going, and actually this is real, I'm going to, it was a restaurant. It wasn't a veggie shop. It was a restaurant. And we were thinking, oh, why don't we do this restaurant? So the little ones, they were thinking, oh, I'm going to cook something. And they were taking some veggies and doing something. And the other one was, I'm going to actually going to be the one that serves, and I'm going to make a promotion. So, and to do that, you need to write, you need to put additions, you need to do all this stuff. I'm talking about 4 or 5 years old. And then the older one, that was 9, said, oh, you know what? I'm going to design the logo of the restaurant. And I said, wow, that's a great idea. Why not? So this one was actually making the logo and making all a leaflet, and starting to learn how to do things, and then doing research on Google. So that became the project, like the whole restaurant thing. So you can use technology in so many ways that children use it because there's a purpose, not because you need to learn how to use a program for the sake of it, but because there is a reason why you need to use it. And when that's the reason, there is not even need of putting marks or anything, because when you are interested and passionate, you just want to go and learn more and do it, and then make something different and you change something else, and what comes out is like, wow, this is so cool. So I'm more about following the child and create something that's interesting for the child. So then they use the tool, they use the tools available, and technology is a tool to make things better, to improve, to make things more beautiful, to whatever is the reason, but it's a tool. And when I believe, actually, Socrates says that nobody can teach anything to anyone, you can only make them think. So what you do is teaching people to think, no, allowing people to think for themselves, because when you think for yourself, you create and you do anything you want to create, and you need to have the freedom to do that, of course.
Yeah, super interesting. But you know what? I think that is not just for children. Today, it's for everyone. I mean, there are a new world in front of us, because there are older people that they learn in YouTube to doing a lot of things, you know. So I think that the opportunities for every one of us. So do you teach some, or do you teach some the parents how they do better things and learn too?
Yeah, so I do kind of webinars. Some parents I just do one-to-one. Others I just actually put webinars available. So then they actually learn how to prepare the right environment, how to give that kind of freedom. How do you teach respect? How do you teach independence? While they learn how to write, how to read, or go ahead, because everything, even maths, is very sensorial. Like even algebra is very sensorial. Everything is with the senses. So you actually learn first what does it mean, and then you create the concept in your head, because abstract concepts are quite difficult to understand. But once you get it with your hands, with your experience, you will never forget it. You understand what you're talking about. You understand like what does it mean. And this is something that's missing out, I think, in education, normal standardized education. Everything is about learning. The mind is more like a container to fill in. For me, children come already with an inner knowledge, and we just need to kind of unfold it, take it out. So what I do with parents is teach them how to support the children. Of course, when they're little, when they're young, you need to be more present. But the aim is to become kind of invisible as a teacher. You become invisible because the child needs to be independent in the way they learn, how to they learn, and how they develop certain things they're curious about, and the parents slowly kind of become like just observing, and then becomes invisible. So that's key, because when you learn how to do things for yourself, where to find resources, where to do what you want to do, and I think, and this is, I think, something, I don't know, maybe kind of different of the way that people normally see education. For me, it's not about forming an individual to prepare it for whatever the market offer out there. For me, is the child learning who he really is, and that's the spiritual part. Like what makes you unique, what are your good characteristics, what are your bad characteristics, how to keep them under control, and then you come up. I think it will be even more incredible than what is already expected. What the market offers already is predictable, while what you can come up with can be completely something that nobody even thought of, and you can create a new kind of job or model or anything. So I'm more kind of side of education, if it makes sense.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I can see, because everybody's grappling with this, how to bring children into brilliant employees, how governments are trying to support their communities, have positive communities, reduce crime, get people involved doing productive things. And I can actually see how some of your webinars or modules could be transferred into a new way of empowering people, because this is about empowerment, isn't it? And being aware of what makes you happy, what you want to do. Now, I know Guillermo's done a lot on happiness, haven't you, Guillermo? Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? Because that's such an interesting...
Actually, I was thinking about the some policies in different countries. For example, there is one policy in Dubai, and actually they are right now doing changes in France, that they are putting as a basic education emotional intelligence for the kids, and I think that is amazing. The other subject is financial education, because you need to have the tools in order to face the life. So I think that there are some countries that they are doing really quite good things. But yeah, totally. I think that we need to learn as well, every one of us, because we have new tools, new channels, and I think that the most important thing is the development of the persons, right? And I love your method, because the technology, I think that is super important, but it's not as you said, it's not necessary that you do all the things in coding because you want to have an employee in the future. I think that is the traditional way to thinking in education, but maybe you can explore your ability, your skills, and maybe follow a little bit the technology, and maybe it's in another fields, but it's different, because right now the persons, they are follow more like the best the best positions, some careers like data science right now, they follow more the money. And I think that your method is quite different. And actually, if you say that they don't go to the school and they do everything in home, I think that maybe we can do things later, and you can teach others to do that.
Yes, definitely. I do have some as well that they send their children to Montessori schools. That when they are, some Montessori schools are really, like, they really adopt the Montessori method. Some are a bit less, but when people go to just simply go into a Montessori school, that doesn't really consider, in some part it considers the emotional aspect, but not in the way that is studied, like in terms of emotional intelligence. That is more or less what I do as well. But if we consider that people like great innovators, or people that created things, like for instance the founders of Google were educated in a Montessori school, or like the founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, was actually from a Montessori school. Even Gabriel Garcia Marquez is actually the prize Nobel novelist, winning novelist, is actually from a Montessori school. And Montessori is about freedom. It's about teaching the child to be independent, to take on responsibility of their actions, and learn how to be who they are, like follow their curiosity. So these are just like little examples where you can get, like what kind of results you can get when you focus on these aspects, on following the child, the person, the child. I think, yeah, and uniqueness is key. Like if we look at things up under the lenses of uniqueness, everything changes, because all the standardized education systems, they're all based on standards, on being seen all the same, on all learning the same things at the same pace, at the same in the same way, with the same like, it's all based on that. But we are not. We're all completely different. We're almost 8 billion inhabitants in the world, so we're completely different. And the more we understand that the way we are, we think, we feel, is completely unique, different to another, even if we are living exactly the same situation, even if we're twins, like, it's never going to be the same, because we're unique. That's why we need to be, we do need a personalized kind of education if we really want to use those hidden skills and be happy. You were talking about happiness in the terms, for me, more than happiness is about finding meaning.
Mm-hmm.
When you find meaning and you understand who you are and what you can do, I think that's the most powerful thing in the world. When you really know, when you know who you are, what you can do, what are your skills, and you can do that only by following your curiosity. having the freedom to understand, oh, I can do this. Oh, I didn't know I can do this. Oh, I love this. And I'm linking this to this. Oh, wow, I can do. And then you realize that you can do. And that helps with confidence, with self-esteem, with so many things. And I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, totally. And how do those this imply, for example, for the future of the kids in their future position? I mean, the kids, they have more skills, for example, when they are in working in a company, and their performance is better, for example, in the companies. Have you noticed something like that?
I haven't seen that yet personally. Like, I haven't, with the people I'm working so far, I haven't seen them going into like working in an environment in that sense. So I don't really, me personally, I don't know. I know of people that have studied in Montessori settings, that they've been, they know. But if you see people, often children, they're home educated, but when parents really know how to home educate them, because nowadays many people are home educating, but they don't really know what to do, or they still follow with the standards, so they're not really observing the child and understanding what the child needs. So when they have the proper guidance, home educating children normally are way more ahead. Mm-hmm. And they're so passionate because they do what they do is not a job, it's what they love. Mm-hmm. It's so different. Like the people, they created airplanes and the light bulb or anything that was created is because they were so passionate. It wasn't a job.
Yeah.
So, and I think that will actually then fix any other kind of issue in terms of like, and you don't have to work. That doesn't mean that you have to be completely like you cannot work for anyone else. No, like you just can still work for companies, you can still do your things. But as far as you have your freedom, do what you love and have your freedom and trust. But when you have this, the whole thing becomes amazing, I think.
Yeah.
I would like Chritina, I know that you are looking for a publisher because you've already written this book. So these insights are available. People can use them and learn from them. Can you tell us about your book, what's in there, what we can expect?
Okay, so in my book, I actually talk on one side, it's like kind of divided in two parts, kind of. So one part is about bringing awareness and understanding what really uniqueness means, what really is uniqueness, and why is so important. I revisit as well the purpose of education. What should it be, the purpose of education? And I try to bring awareness in terms of why the standardized education actually fails us. What are the things that can make children emotionally and mentally dependent, rather than support real critical thinking or divergent thinking as well. I talk a lot about divergent thinking because that's very important. Creativity is the ability of expressing your uniqueness in some way. So, and that's quite different to convergent thinking. That is what normally they do in schools. So I talk in all, and then I go through all the areas of growth. So I'll talk about the magical bodies system, and I explain what they actually mean and how these are supported in each, like at home, and how they are supported or not supported in schools. So I go through the physical body and talk about nutrition, how nutrition happens in schools. What does it mean? That how does it happen at home? Why is so important, for instance, to support this? And I do the same with the emotional body, with the mental body. And there's lots of research and lots of facts that I use, and as well a wisdom of ancient philosophy and these natural these holistic methods. And then I talk as well about the spiritual body and why lots of the issues that are happening now can come actually from a kind of not being aware of your dark sides, like all the parts of you that don't allow you to growth, like procrastination, like all these kind of things that actually why and how you can control them, why happened. And then I kind of give a way forward for parents to kind of take on responsibility on this matter on education and how you actually can do it as a parent. And because we have this deep rooted belief that parents cannot educate children, but in reality that's not the case. Like we can really do that, and we can be in charge and support our children to be the best version of themselves. So yeah, it's a bit of here and there.
Well, I can see the content that you've given me, and my mind was jumping from place to place. First of all, I was working in the public sector, and I was looking at aspects of what you were talking about and how we need that in our communities, projects or initiatives and approaches. And then I was in the human resource department, and I'm thinking, yes, finding the uniqueness for the business, for the employees, getting them to be innovative. And then I was thinking of working with the current educational establishment and helping fill the gaps with modules and so on. I can see so much learning in what you've had to say, and so much scope for the future. And I feel passionate and empowered by what you do. And I think you're brilliant, Chritina. I really do.
Thank you. Well, we'll see. I haven't seen results yet.
So if anybody wants to be in touch with Chritina, please let us know, and we will connect you. She's also looking for a publisher for this magical book for magical parenting. And
I have as well. Sorry to interrupt. I as well have a podcast, a magical parenting podcast, where is on YouTube. And it's just a magical parenting podcast. And I just discuss a bit about my method, about the education system and all these things and parenting. And I mean, I use lots of topics in there.
Well, we'll be looking for that. I know I will. Thank you so much, Chritina.
No problem. Thank you again. Thank you for listening.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.